Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
All 4 seasons, hey, Babylon,
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to this week's episode of Music of the Mountains, where to be and what to see. Our musical guests this week. Do you mind introducing yourselves real quick?
I'm Busker, B-U-S-K-E-R. Real name's Nick Anthony, and I'm sitting here with Tom Diaz, goes by Lazer.
And I hear that with the band Iron Roots, you'll be performing at the Train Cars very soon.
That's correct. We've been playing at the Train Cars almost once a year at a minimum, sometimes 2 or 3 times, since about 2015. We're based out of Pine Cliff, right down the road, so we love being able to play down in Ned. Love the Train Cars.
So how did Iron Roots start in the first place?
I've always loved reggae music, and I've played music since I was a kid, all throughout school, and I auditioned and tried out with a bunch of different bands back in 2014 and 2015, and just didn't really find one that really was a good fit, so I put an ad out, and Nick was my neighbor at the time, and we didn't really know that one another played music, and so he ended up getting in touch with me and saying, hey, I want to be part of your band, and so we've kind of been together since 2015 as Iron Roots, and we've kind of been at it since then.
And I assume there are other members of the band, correct?
There are. So we are the 2 main members of the group, I would say, and then we've got different iterations of the band just depending on what gig we're playing. We've got a full horn section that we play with sometimes, and we've got several other members of the band that play with us, but Nick and I have been at it together since the very beginning here. So,
and we have, like Tom was saying, with the other members of the band, several different iterations, so we could be a 4 or 5 piece all the way up to a 13 piece. So we have members of other bands who we're friends with who will come and play with us, depending on the size and the event and what's needed.
How many members will be performing at the Train Cars?
We should be between 6 and 8. It really depends on availability, and we try to work with the venue as far as timing and budget. But most likely it's going to be 6 to 8 people.
Well, how did you guys get started in music in the first place?
Sure, I'll go first. This is Busker. So both my parents were in band when I was younger. My dad was probably more successful than my mother. It was just in the time when the father went out to work and the mom stayed home in the 80s is when I grew up. And I grew up on the East Coast in the D.C. area. I listened to a lot of my parents' music, so I grew up on a lot of protest music, which of course led to a lot of reggae. One of the first albums my dad ever got me was Legend from Bob Marley, and that kind of set my path down more towards reggae. I moved out here to Colorado with my wife in 2012, and from the door started getting into the music scene here, and unbeknownst to me, sitting next door was Tom, and once I went down and linked up with him, things just started taking off. And in the past 6-7 years, I've pretty much done a whole bunch of different things within the band, but I've pretty much focused on vocals and filled in where I'm needed musically, so either on keys or percussion. I even played rhythm guitar way back in the early days.
So I am primarily a drummer. Drums are my first instrument. I've been playing drums since I was 10 years old. I grew up in Denver, and my grandfather was from Cuba, and he was very much involved and interested in Afro-Cuban jazz music. I grew up listening to that and a lot of different music, but a lot of Afro-Cuban jazz, and throughout the years I have learned more instruments and have gotten into the production side of music and studio work and that kind of thing. So I am a multi-instrumentalist focused mostly on drums. I play drums for Iron Roots now. I also play drums for another local reggae band called One Drum. So music has always been a passion of mine, and it's something I've always come back to even if I put it down for some time. And back in about 2015 when we really got serious about reggae music and playing with Iron Roots, I started assembling a studio at my house that is now Dubcat Records, and we write and record our band and other musicians there. And so so I do a lot of production work and a little bit of J work sometimes. I've done DJ stuff at the train car over the years as well. And so I just love music and reggae music. I was in Jamaica when I was young. We took a trip with my family to Jamaica and Cuba, the birthplace of my grandfather there. And that was a pretty intense trip and place to visit. And ever since then, reggae has just been my heart and soul, and it's been the focus in parts of my life, and I always come back to it, and it is something I'm deeply passionate about, and so that's what we do now, and I think that's kind of the summary. But yeah, always been into music and played music all throughout school, middle school, high school, and looking to expand further and keep going.
So do you guys play covers, originals, or a mix of both?
Yeah, we play a mix of both. It's mostly old-style roots reggae music, not so much of the new style sound, but more of a classic sound. So we draw a lot of our sound from the 70s roots reggae era, and we do play mostly originals, and we throw in some covers here and there. Mostly the more of your classic tunes that maybe people may not have heard of before. So we like to mix it up.
So for the original songs, how does the writing process work? Is there a primary songwriter, or do you guys work on songs together?
A little bit of everything.
It all kind of depends on the song. I think from song to song it's been different. But generally speaking, Tom will be like, hey man, I got this bass line I've been working on. Why don't you come up this weekend and we'll listen to it, or he'll send me a file. I work on lyrics on my own, so I have a whole bunch of stuff on my phone that are all in progress work, and I'll find something that fits the theme of what Tom's been working on. Sometimes we come up with stuff extemporaneously when we're doing rehearsals and we're doing a jam, or there's been times where we've created songs. One of our songs that's going to be coming out shortly is called Soul, and that song we made up on the spot down at a First Friday event in Denver, 4 years ago, something like that, around COVID time. So it ranges.
But everyone has their part to play. We'll come up with an idea, and then the group will be involved in adding to that depending on what they play. A lot of times the horn guys will write horn parts after we've come up with a bass track for what we're doing. If somebody has an idea, we'll incorporate whatever anybody wants to do on top of that. So I would say Nick and I write a lot of stuff together, and then everyone has an influence on that after the fact.
What are some of your favorite parts of the songwriting process?
I like when we both have two ideas that meet somewhere in the middle, and then we walk away with something that's completely different. It's just really cool to watch something progress, and it can be as short as, it's amazing. Sometimes we can come up with the idea and be completely finished with what the basic song's going to be in a matter of 3 to 5 minutes, because we've both been working on something, and when we come together, it just fits. And then there's times where we've taken something that we came up with previously that we kind of left unfinished, and we'll be like, that horn line that we played the other night would fit real well with this, and then it builds and becomes something else. So it's really cool when we're able to combine our different ideas into a finished product.
What are some of your favorite aspects about being able to perform live and share this music with an audience?
I would say my favorite thing about what we do specifically is just bringing old-style roots reggae to either people who don't really listen to reggae, or they like reggae but they're not super into it or involved with it, and just getting that sound out to more people. And what you would call Cali reggae is really popular right now, and so it's nice to, when people come to reggae music through some of the American Cali reggae bands, to expand their horizons into the roots of reggae music and where that has come from, and let them experience the more classic sound with a newer twist on that.
Yeah, and I would add that part of the culture of roots reggae is equality, justice, and peace. And oftentimes what happens in some of the sunshine reggae scenes is that there's a lot of co-opting of narratives and messages, and it ends up being about partying and excess and not caring about things. And so it is a little important for us to have meaningful lyrics and connect with people, and not just make ear candy, I guess is the way I guess we say it.
Is there anything you hope audience members will take away from these shows when they come and see you?
I want them to have a good time at the base level. I want them to enjoy what we're doing, because we're having fun every time we play, and we want to make that connection with people, and I think we've done that.
Yeah, and just being inclusive of everyone, and just getting everyone involved. And a lot of our music touches on topics that are a little bit first, maybe political, maybe in terms of social justice, that kind of thing. So it's nice to spread that message and get people involved and just try to open people's minds and hearts a little bit.
And I think that roots reggae in particular is able to transcend some of of those political divides, especially that we see today, because some of the messages in our songs are less about the left-right paradigm and more about standing up against Babylon and the rule that this capitalist society puts on everyone.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off?
I think Iron Roots has a pretty unique connection with Netherlands. We've been playing here for a while, especially with the train cars itself. We were playing at train cars the day that the fire broke out.
Yeah, the day the Cold Springs fire happened. And I think our first gig of all time back in 2015 was at the train car here in the Netherlands. So it's just awesome to keep coming back here, and they keep having it back. Colorado, really, the smaller venues is what we really like to embrace and help out along the way.
Are you guys planning on releasing any music in the near future?
Yeah, we are getting ready to release an album. We just have a release a couple of months ago, a song called Armageddon Sun, that is on our Affirmation Dub EP. Affirmation Dub EP is going to come out here in the next couple of months. We're really excited about that. We've just been busy in the studio just working on writing and creating more music, and we're going to start releasing more things as time goes on.
And then we have a live album recorded from a previous show at Herman's Hideaway down in Denver. We recorded the whole set, and we had some songs that were covers that we didn't include on it just for rights purposes and whatnot. But it's kind of meaningful because we did lose our trombone player, Dave Dinsmore, this past year, and that was the last show that we had played with him. So it's kind of cool that we were able to have that time before he left us.
Yeah, and Dave Dinsmore has been a part of the Colorado music scene for years and years and years. I remember being young, 13, 14 years old, and seeing him at Civic Center Park in Denver with his band that he was playing with at the time, and even as of recently, they're called Judge Roughneck, and seeing him way back then and aspiring what we've become has been really cool, and it was hard to lose him unexpectedly several months ago, so kind of cool to have a final recording with him.
Thank you so much to Nick and Tom, otherwise known as Busker and Lazer, for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. If you want to see the both of them, along with 4 to 6 other members performing live as Iron Roots, you can head to the Train Cars, located at 101 Peak to Peak Highway in Netherlands, on Saturday, June 8th, 2024, at 6 p.m. Keep in mind, the band we're highlighting next week is also performing at a different venue on Saturday, June 8th at 6 p.m., so make sure you listen to both episodes to see which one you might prefer to go to. And now, for this week's Music Mentions. Head to Busey Brews, located at 70 East 1st Street in Netherlands on Sunday, May 26th at 2 p.m. to see I.O. Underground performing live. Head to the Canyon Tavern, located at 32138 Highway 72 in Coal Creek Canyon on Saturday, May 25th at 6 p.m. to see Howard DeLugash performing live. Head to the Diner Bar Ned, located at 121 North Jefferson Street in Netherlands on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. for a karaoke night. Head to the Gold Hill Inn, located at 401 Main Street in Gold Hill on Friday, May 24th at 8 p.m. to see Magoo performing live, on Saturday, May 25th at 6 p.m. to see Montana Sand performing live, on Sunday, May 26th at 6 p.m. to see Danny Schaefer performing live, and on Monday, May 27th at noon for the Memorial Day Mountain Festival and Barbecue 2024, featuring the Gasoline Lollipops, Riverman, and Lundy Night Trio. Head to the Gold Hill General Store, located at 531 Main Street in Gold Hill on Friday, May 24th at 7 p.m. to see Lionel Young performing live. Head to Howlin' Wind Brewing, located at 51A Main Street in Rollinsville on Saturday, May 25th at 5 p.m. to see Stellar Jays performing live, and on Sunday, May 26th at 4 p.m. to see an open bluegrass jam. Head to the Jamestown Mercantile, located at 108 Main Street in Jamestown on Friday, May 24th at 7 p.m. to see Tyron Benoit performing live, on Sunday, May 26th at 12:15 p.m. to see Circus Mutt performing live, and on Thursday, May 30th at 7 p.m. to see Jay Staub performing live. Head to JKQ Barbecue, located at 200 Gregory Street in Blackhawk on Friday, May 24th at 6 p.m. and on Saturday, May 25th at 5 p.m. to see Mark Cuban performing live. Head to Knotted Root Brewing, located at 250 North Caribou Street in Netherlands on Friday, May 24th, starting at 6 p.m. for an as-of-now unconfirmed DJ, and on Saturday, May 25th at 5 p.m. to see PJ Moon performing live. Head to the Netherland Farmers Market, located at 85 East 1st Street in Netherlands on Sunday, May 26th at 10:30 a.m. to see John Black Dog Ridnell performing live. Head to the Old Gallery at Allens Park, located at 14863 Highway 7 in Allens Park on Friday, May 24th at 6:30 p.m. to see Brad Fitch performing live. Head to the Train Cars, located at 101 Peak to Peak Highway in Netherland on Saturday, May 25th at 9 p.m. to see Bulis and Beats with Dr. Bent, Guaro, and Glippish, and on Monday, May 27th at noon to see Lucas Wolf and Kylie Brock performing live. Also be sure to head there on Thursday, May 30th at 5 p.m. for a train jam. And finally, head to the Very Nice Brewing Company, located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, number 112 in Netherland on Friday, May 24th at 6 p.m. to see Reservoir Fog performing live, on Saturday, May 25th at 5 p.m. to see Mountain Reverb performing live, and on Sunday, May 26th at 4 p.m. to see the CBDs performing live. Did we miss you or your performance? Want to submit your music listing in the Peak to Peak area? Do you have updates to your business or to your performances? Please call 303-810-5409 or email info@themountaineer.com to be included in the next print edition or the next podcast of The Mountain Ear.
'Cause we were feeling the same way. 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 Na, 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 na. Hey. Ah.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.